going on, Jerome's? So, of course, the Minnesota Vikings 2025 draft class is in the books. Donovan Jackson, he is for real. Ty Felton, speed on the outside. Yards after catch is beautiful. Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, low and slow. Barbecue, crockpot style. Eventually, he's going to rise on up, be a threat on the edge. Great against the run as well. Kobe King, 2-down thumper. Gavin Bartholomew, tight end 3. Vikings draft class, I like. Especially since the Vikings went in with 4 draft picks, mainly because of the Diamond Dallas Turner. Because remember, they gave up a 2025 second to get up to 23 with the Texans, and then the move from 23 to 17 for Turner, a 3rd and a 4th. So basically 2, 3, 4 were sunk into Diamond Dallas Turner. Worth it? Will certainly be worth it. Damn straight. But long story longer, everyone and their mom is recapping the 2025 draft on our guy Thor Nystrom over at Fantasy Life. Definitely dug on in. I'm glad he gave the Lions an F. Because I know that his name is T-Slaw, but everyone's calling him Tesla. Get the hell out of here, right? I'm glad he gave the Lions an F, but the Vikings. So I understand everything's a bell curve. Someone's got to have A's, someone got to have D's, someone has to have double D's, but I don't know. A D. Here's the thing too. It's a lot like the Dane Brugler evaluation. Thor actually likes the draft class, except still ends up with a D. I get it. Anyways, this is what Thor wrote. Last spring's trades ultimately led to edge Diamond Dallas Turner was largely built with quality equity from this draft. Kwesi entered with a league low 4 picks and a league low in total draft equity. We saw this manifest early with the pick of OG Donovan Jackson. I saw Jackson as a late first rounder. Others saw him as an early second rounder. But the consensus top 3 offensive tackles, Booker and Gray Zabel, and the consensus top 4 defensive tackles off the board before 124. The board had fallen poorly for the Vikings. Adofo-Mensah had no choice but to stick and pick the last sure thing trench option for immediate help. He appeared to be vindicated minutes later when Houston bailed out of its slot, presumably because Jackson was no longer available. And so the whole thing is 100% the Texans were going to draft Donovan Jackson. He's a Houston product, teammates with C.J. Stroud, can play left tackle, left guard. They have a lot of issues along the offensive line. And plus, they hit up Ursery day 2. So, yeah, Houston was definitely going to be taking Donovan Jackson if the Vikings going to take him at 24. So the whole notion of, well, he should have taken the Giants trade and then gotten Jackson later. That dog wasn't going to hunt. Nah, ain't going to happen. In my opinion, Jackson is the best pure guard in this class above Tyler Booker. He will start immediately at left guard. Jackson has a premium combination of length with the longest wingspan in the interior offensive line class and power in athletic package. He's a hammer in the run game. So, see, Thor loves the Jackson pick. Maybe a little bit slightly overdrafted, but given where the Vikings were at and the fact that they weren't drafting it until 97, you certainly were going to do a lot worse, especially since there was the edge of the plateau and there's a pretty big fall off between Jackson and the rest of the interior offensive line, but still ended up with a D. Continue. Jackson deserves huge credit for sacrifice for a team, shifting from left guard to left tackle to replace injured Josh Simmons in October. He was sensational in the college football playoff, allowing 0 sacks and 2 pressures over 4 games, including a date with stud Tennessee edge rusher James Pierce. Donovan Jackson is an infinity stone. I love it. To the top 3 offensive line that the Vikings now boast. Woo! Top 3, I love it. Capping a stunning offseason transformation of an interior offensive line that has been problematic for years. After Jackson, the Vikings didn't pick again until 397. They traded that pick along with 187 to the Texans for 102, 142. The Vikings chose a Maryland wide receiver Ty Felton at 3, 102. Now to the team's precarious receiver depth with a suspension for wide receiver Jordan Addison looming. Yes. Felton has a 4.37 speed and both yards after catch juice and the ability to get downtown. He's stick thin, though, and lacks play strength. He will need to prove he can get off the line against press cover bullies and needs to clean up ball skills. Felton dropped 8 balls last year and particularly seemed to have an issue when jostled at the catch point. So, got to clean that up. But also, Thor's made this point before. It's like, yeah, Stephon Diggs had issues coming out of Maryland, too. Certainly got those cleaned up as a 5th rounder. Hopefully that Felton can do that as a 3rd rounder coming in from College Park. There's a long-term starter ceiling in Felton's profile, but it comes with its own risk. The same could be said with 4th-round edge rusher Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, a law firm. Ingram Dawkins is an eye of the beholder, ball of clay, probably clay. He's young, he's athletic, and he has a rangy frame. If you squint, easy for me. You can see him as a long-term 3-4 defensive end. If you want to see the glass half empty, you'll perceive him as an unfinished product with a tweener profile, 2 years away from being 2 years away. Where I do see him as a starting 3-4 defensive end, because I think that he's solid at that 5-tech. The bulk of his snaps at Georgia in his final season were just outside of the tackle shoulder. Like, he's not a wide dime guy, even though he's lined up there before. But just given the physical tools, he's very good at setting the edge. I think that's his floor immediately. And I think that he does need a little bit of polish in the pass rushing department. But, of course, he got the tools to work with. The Vikings trade back from their 5th-round pick, multiplying into number 201, 202 via trade with the Rams. With the first of those 2 picks, Minnesota took linebacker Kobe King, who I ranked closer to the slot they had traded down from. Quietly, the Vikings had a lack of linebacker depth, with little on the rooster, proven behind the starters, which is absolutely true. And as we'll point out, when the Vikings, that's the wrong slide, when the Vikings had Pace and Cashman each go down with separate injuries, the linebacker depth was pretty thin. All right? And the Vikings, they didn't bring back Camus, but they did bring in Eric Wilson as a veteran stopgap, which is fine. But I think Kobe could rise up being a plus special teamer, as well as a core backup off-ball linebacker behind Pace and Cashman, hopefully a long time. The other depth at the time position was also precarious, so it wasn't a surprise that the other selection was used on tight end. I think it was a mistake to take Pittsburgh's Gavin Bartholomew over Nebraska's Thomas Fedone II, who went shortly after him, and the Vikings did do a lot of work with Fedone II. Adofo-Mensah told the media over the weekend, in the circumstance that he was in, hitting it down the fairway was the best course of action. That's what he did, adding an immediate starter at left guard while fleshing out the roster's depth. So obviously that's interesting that Thor seems to, by and large, he liked the Jackson pick. Felton has a lot of upside. He likes Dawkins. He likes King. Bartholomew is sort of whatever, but still D? I don't know. Here's what's interesting, too. So he gave the Patriots C+. For Dan Brugler, the Patriots had the number 1 draft, right? So obviously everything is in the eye of the beer holder, and basically draft grades are, he gave the Giants an A, which I kind of like this one. Plus, I think Thor was huge on Scadaboo, so that sort of makes sense there. But let's see what the Lions did. Actually, we'd have to go up, wouldn't we? Because I'm really smart about things. Yeah. Because I think because he gave the Lions an F, which is going to be great to see. Also, the greasy grimy Green Bay Packers finally drafted 75 receivers. This is a good pod. All right, Packers D-. Yes. Yes. F your mom, F your face. F Savion Williams, 6'4" Cordero. F the feel-good story of Baron Sorrell. Why was he there? I don't know. Lions with an F. A lot of it was the Tesla trade. All right. Overall, like Tyleik Williams, fine. Ratledge, I like a lot. Frazier doubling down into your offensive line, but Tesla. So they trade a third and 2 future thirds to move up for a guy that a lot of people perceive day 3. Who knows? Who knows? And the crooked Chicago Bears and all their geniusness. I know that he loves Loveland. The crooked Chicago Bears. C. Yeah. All right, so Colston, LB3, I feel like was a huge luxury pick for them. Trapio, Shamar Turner. Yeah. So overall, who got an A? Browns got an A? Yeah. I feel like, Thor did have Shedeur ranked as his quarterback 1, right there, over Cam Ward. So the drop was pretty precipitous. But obviously there was more than just ball in having to do with his drop. The Gabriel pick is just ridiculous. I forget who pointed this out, but if you change the order with these players are drafted, everyone would be psyched. Even though, yes, you did trade out of Travis Hunter, but you got the Jaguars' first-round pick next year, which probably going to be high. Duval. But if you change the order to Graham, Schlesinger, Judkins, Fannin, and then you took Shedeur at 94, which he would have been available, and Gabriel at 144, which he probably would have been available. I mean, this looks like a legit AA draft, like 1-1. All right, but it's just funny to me. Of course, like we said, everything is subjective right now. We won't really know the truth until a couple years down the line. But it's just weird how things go sometimes. Where, like I said, I think Thor liked the Vikings picks overall. They were already had their ass in the jackpot because of lack of picks. But overall, Donovan Jackson's stepping in as a day 1 starter. Felton has that upside. TID has a chance to really contribute down the line. Be a rotational guy at first. I think eventually he will be a plus starter at that 5 tech. King, great backup, great special teamer. I think that the Vikings got the most out of their draft value. Plus, you do have to factor in that Diamond Dallas Turner is essentially a major part of this draft class as well. So overall, I think the Vikings made out like bandits, and they got Sam Howell. Slinging Sam Howell, 21 touchdowns in 2023. We won't talk about the rest. Yeah. Anyways, that's it. That's it. Our guy Thor Nystrom over at Fantasy Life grades the Vikings draft a D, even though he likes it. Yeah. Anyways, let us know your thoughts. Our thoughts, comment section. You guys are the best you know what to do. Skull production value.